Good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible to all of you? My voice is reaching to you people? Okay, fine. So today, as you know, we have to begin with the topic grain, isn't it? We have to start with the grain topic. Just a second. Yes, so we have to start with the grain topic. Grain, as you know, can anyone tell me what is a difference between seed and grain? May I know who has entered the class with the 69 name? Whosoever this particular child is, immediately leave or rename yourself. Yes. Can any one of you tell me what is the difference between a grain and a seed? Why do we call as maize grain? Why do we do not use the word maize seed or rice seed or wheat seed? Why do we use the word grain? If you have gone through the chapter, I had already told you to read and come. If you have gone through it, you would be easily able to tell the difference. Could you please tell me? What about the others? In their book, it is not given. Arushi Srivastava, not given in the book. Is it given or not given? Not given. Okay, no idea. Yes, yes, Shivaj, please unmute yourself and tell. The voice is not coming better. Still, I can't hear you. Check your headphone. The connection, the connectivity, please check it. Yes, Parth, please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, seed is contained in a fruit, while in the grain, the seed is fused with the fruit.
Seed is fused with the fruit. Okay. Fine. Yeah, mute yourself. Now, if you remember, there is a particular term used with the fruit. That term is pericarp. Okay, this term is pericarp. And when we talk about pericarp, we have three regions of it. We have three regions for this pericarp. We have the exocarp. We have the mesocarp. And we have the endocarp. Is that clear? Exocarp is the outer covering, which is generally removed in most of the fruits, like banana, oranges. This is thick covering, thick leathery covering, which is generally removed. Is that clear to you? Whereas in some it is very thin and we eat it, like in guavas, apple also, we consume it. Is that clear? Mesocarp is the fleshy area which we eat. Okay, the pulpy area which we eat, like when we are eating a mango, we remove its cover, outer cover, exocarp, and then the part which we eat is the mesocarp. Endocarp is the region where seed is present. Okay, endocarp is the region where seed is present. Is that clear to you? So all these three together make up the pericarp. Okay, pericarp. Is this clear to everybody? Is it clear to everyone? I'm asking. Have you understood this? Yeah. Again repeating. Exocarp, outer covering. Mesocarp, the middle pulpy portion which is being generally eaten up. and the grain, where pericarp remains fused with the seed coat. I hope you remember that seed was having an outer covering, test and tegmen. There was an outer covering, test and tegmen or not. So when the pericarp and seed coat remain fused together, where you cannot differentiate between the seed area and the fruit area, that particular type of seed is referred as grain. What do we call it? We call it as a grain. I hope now everybody has understood the difference between the grain and the seed. Is it clear to everybody? Anyone has any doubt regarding it, understanding what is a seed and what is a this particular grain? Again, I'm repeating. Grain is the fusion of the pericarp and the seed coat. Okay. Now, when we talk about, generally we discuss about the maize grain because it is the one which is clearly where we can see all the parts. So if we discuss, can I rub this? Have you noted down all these things? So I'm going to rub it off. Now let us discuss about the maize grain. If you see, the structure of the maize grain is somewhat like this. This is the structure of the maize grain, and we have a layer which is known as the aileron layer. Aileron layer, and this layer is basically made up of protein. This particular layer is made up of protein. Is that clear? Now, if you observe, have you ever observed a corn bhutta? Have you observed the seeds of the corns? If you can see that this particular region is dark yellow. Okay, this region is dark yellow, and somewhat here it is light yellow in color. Have you seen the difference? Have seen the difference in corn or not? If not, you can see it today itself. That upper portion will be dark yellow in color and the lower region will be light yellow in color. Is that clear? If you observe it, you will find a membrane which is dividing these two layers, and this membrane is known as epithelium. What it is called as? It is called as epithelium. Is that clear? Now this dark region is the endosperm part. Now you need to understand, in grains the food is stored in the endosperm, and I need not to tell you what is endosperm. Everybody knows what is an endosperm, how it is formed. Okay, so in the grains the maximum food is stored in the endosperm area. So the dark yellow region is representing the endosperm area, whereas this light yellow region is the region where you will find a thin sheet of the cotyledon. Okay, you will find a thin sheet of the cotyledons. Where in the cotyledons there will be embryo, and that embryo will be having two regions. This is the plumule region, and this is the radical region, as we were having in normal seed. I hope everybody knows what is plumule giving rise and what is radical giving rise to. What plumule give rise to? What plumule is giving rise to? Yes, Achinte? Achinte, please unmute yourself. Yes, Janvi Goswami, please unmute yourself. Yes,
Miss plumule gives rise to shoot and radical gives rise to root.
Okay, very good. Plumule gives rise to the shoot and radical gives rise to the what? To the root. And you know it very well. What is the first one to emerge out? The first thing to emerge out is the radical. Okay, the first thing to emerge out in any seed or in any grain is the radicle. Now, if you observe on the top of the plumule, you will find a covering. Okay, you will find a sheath, a covering on the top of the plumule. Same way, you will find a covering on the top of the radicle. The covering of the plumule is called as coleoptile, and the covering of the radicle is called as coleorhiza. What it is called as? It is called as coleorhiza. Is that clear? So it is a protective covering. Coleoptile and coleorhiza is the protective covering which is found over where, over the plumule we find the coleoptile, and over the radicle we find the coleorhiza, and they are meant for what? They are just meant for the protection. Is that clear? So this is the structure of the maize grain. What all things you have to keep in mind when you are defining a maize grain? The protein cover layer, that is the aileron layer, then the epithelium, which is differentiating between the darker region and the light region. The dark yellow region represents the endosperm. The lighter region represents the presence of embryo. Okay, the lighter region shows the presence of embryo. Here you have a thick sheet of this cotyledon, where embryo is present. In the embryo, we have the plumule and the radicle. Plumule and radicle both are covered with a protective covering called as coleoptile and coleorhiza. So this is the structure of a maize grain. Anyone has any doubt in understanding this? Has anyone any doubt? Now here you can see, is micropyle present somewhere? Is micropyle present? No. There is no presence of micropyle shown over there. Is that clear to you? Now one thing more. If you see this cotyledon of the grains, the cotyledons of the grains is also called as scutellum. What it is referred as? It is referred as scutellum. So just I'm going to read it out, and whatever is important, I'll ask you to underline. Maize grain is yellowish in color. On the side of the grain is a small opaque and whitish area in which embryo lies embedded. So I'm talking about the lower portion. You write mention over there the lower region. The lower region. Basically it is in the lower region where you find light yellow or slightish yellow color. Maize grain consists of two unequal portions divided by a thin layer called as the epithelium. So with the division, you yourself can see, is my division equal? Have I drawn an equal division? No, unequal division. Larger portion of endosperm and a smaller region for the presence of embryo. The bigger portion is the endosperm, which lies towards the broader side. It stores food in the form of starch. The outermost layer contains only protein and is called as aileron layer. Already I have told you that. Please underline that. Aileron layer is made up of protein. On the other side of the endosperm, towards the pointed end lies an opaque body called the embryo. The embryo consists of one large and shield-shaped cotyledon. Underline that. One large shield-shaped cotyledon, plumule and radicle. Cotyledon is also called as scutellum. Plumule lies at the upper end, radicle at the lower end. Both radicle and plumule are enclosed in a sheath. The sheath covering the plumule is coleoptile, and the one covering the radicle is coleorhiza. I hope everything I have already explained to you, and you know how to draw the diagram now. Is there any doubt in drawing the diagram? Any doubt to anyone? If you have any doubt, you can refer this diagram and you can draw it. Because in this particular diagram, I have mentioned all the important points and it will be easy for you. No doubt? Now, you know the difference between the seed and the grain. Now, let us talk about seed germination. You know, once the seed, I have already in the previous class explained to you that every seed should go for a period of dormancy. Okay, it should go for a dormancy. Dormancy is a period where seed prepare itself for the further development or the future development. And I told you that dormancy is important because it enhances the quality of the product or enhances the quality of the upcoming generation. Now, after the going under the dormancy period, when the seed is sown in the soil and it after being sown in the soil, it is provided with all the necessary conditions. It will show the sign of germination. It will start showing the sign of germination. And the first sign of germination is seen through by the giving out of the radicle. By giving out of radicle represents, the seed has now started to germinate. The embryo in the dry seed remains inactive or dormant. See, seed is there inside that seed. The embryo, is it living or dead? Is it living or dead? Is it living or dead? Please answer to me. The embryo, yes, Paridhi, please unmute yourself.
Means it is living.
It is living, but it is in a dormant condition. Means you can say it is a sleeping condition. Is that clear? So the embryo in the dry seed remains inactive or dormant. Under favorable condition, it becomes active and developed into small seedlings. Now, do you know the difference between seed and seedling? Ishan Chaudhary, first you switch on your video and then if you have to answer, then only you'll be able to, you'll be given the chance to give the answer. Do you know the difference between seed and the seedling? Could you please tell me the difference between seed and seedling? And the other word, plantlets. I want to know the difference between these three terms. Seed, seedlings, and plantlets. Shivansh, is your mic working now? Please unmute yourself.
Miss, they are baby plant. Miss, they are baby plant. Seedlings, baby
Seedlings
plant.
are the baby plants. Then what are plantlets?
The seedling is called plantlets now.
Seedlings are called plantlets. Do you agree with it? All those
Miss,
were
I
there?
thought it's called that.
No, it is not. Seedling is different and plantlet is different. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
Rajnandani, please mute yourself, Shivansh beta. Yes, Rajnandani, please unmute yourself.
Miss, seedling means that its plumule and radicle have emerged out, and plantlets are the small plants
Okay.
which have developed.
Yes. See, seedling means that when the radicle and the plumule is visible in the seed. If you sow a seed and after few days, if you take out that seed, you will see a radicle also coming out and a plumule also coming out. So that particular stage is called as seedling. Plantlet is that where the leaves or if a plant, small baby plant, the small baby plant which comes above the soil. The small baby plant which is coming above the soil, that will be called as plantlet. It will be called as plantlet. Seed and seedling remain under the soil. They both remain under the soil, and plantlet is the first stage which appears above the soil. Is that clear to you? So I hope this difference is clear to you that seed, seedling, and plantlets, all three are different terms. They are not the same terminologies. Under favorable condition, it becomes active and develop into small seedling. The process by which inactive embryo in seed becomes active and begins to grow is called seed germination. Thus, seed germination is the process during which the food reserves present in a seed are used by the embryo and it starts growing into seedling. Underline that. Underline that. The definition of germination. It is getting food, you know, seed is getting food from the cotyledons or from the endosperm, and then utilizing that food, the embryo is utilizing that food, giving out the radicle and the plumule, showing that now the seed has started to show some living sign. That is being called as seed germination. A freshly formed seed normally does not germinate even if the, that was the thing I was telling you, a freshly formed seed normally does not even germinate even if the conditions of germination are favorable. A seed must pass through a period of dormancy during which it undergoes physiological changes. Underline that. That was the point I had already explained in the previous class. Have I explained it or not? That every seed must go under a phase of dormancy. It is compulsory. That dormancy period prepares the seed from inner side. Physiological changes, chemical changes, enzymes becoming active so that they can give a better quality of a plant. Now talking about types of germination. I hope you remember epigeal and hypogeal, epicotyl and hypocotyl. Do you remember epicotyl and hypocotyl? Who would quickly explain it to me? What is epicotyl and hypocotyl? Rather than the students who are continuously giving the answer. Parth, lower your hand. I want to know from the students, those who are there in the class. Ani, Shrishti, Samriddhi, all of you put your hands down. No, not you people, not again you people. Why not the other? Let them give the answer. Maybe the answer is wrong. No issues. Yes, Jagriti. Could you please unmute yourself better? Yes, Jagriti, please.
Miss, an epigeal, the cotyledons come above the ground, and in hypogeal they don't.
No, I want to know epicotyl and hypocotyl, what were they? What were they? Last time I have explained you the seed, no? And there I have explained you what was epicotyl and what was hypocotyl. So I want to know that. Were you there in the last class? Were there? Just quickly, go through the diagram of the seed. You'll come to know. Okay. Yes, Ritesh Pandey. Gone, disappeared. Ritesh is there. Ritesh, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, epicotyl is the position of the place where embryo and seedling, above the place of embryo and seedling.
Or above the area, above the embryo and seedling. Okay. Is it correct? Is it correct? No. Okay. Ritesh, just mute yourself better. Yes, Winston, please unmute yourself and tell what is an epicotyl and hypocotyl region. Winston? Unmute yourself, Winston.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, beta, good afternoon.
Ma'am, if hypocotyl between cotyledon and radicle it is present, and if epicotyl it is above hypocotyl.
Fine. I draw this diagram, the diagram which I have drawn over here. May I rub it? Okay. Yes. Yes, Adarsh. Please unmute yourself. Where did it go? Adarsh, unmute yourself. Vincent, mute yourself. Yes, Adarsh, please unmute yourself and say.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, beta.
Miss, hypocotyl is the space between the cotyledons and the radicals, and Miss, epicotyl present above it is the space between the cotyledons and the plumule.
Okay. See, it was okay. Fine. Correct. It is hypocotyl is the axis. You have to write embryonic axis. You can't say it is a point, but it is. I hope in maths you have understood axis, na? X-axis and Y-axis. Are they true line or imaginary line? They're imaginary line. We consider them as an imaginary line. This axis. So this hypocotyl is an axis, an embryonic axis. What axis? An embryonic axis between the embryo. You can say between the cotyledon and the radicle. Between the cotyledon and the radicle. What is epicotyl? It is an embryonic axis between the cotyledon and the plumule. Is that clear to you? Suppose if I draw a structure of a seed over here. This is the plumule and this is the radicle. So this axis is your hypocotyl region and here it is your epicotyl region. Is that clear to you? Is it clear or not? The axis between the radical, the embryonic axis between the radical and the cotyledon, and the embryonic axis between the cotyledon and the plumule. Is that okay? Yes. Now, on the basis of that, we have two types of germination: epigeal germination and hypogeal germination. Is that okay? In this type of germination, the cotyledons come above the surface of the soil. Underline that. Underline it and mark it as point number 1. Cotyledons come above the surface of the soil into the air and light due to the rapid and elongation of the hypocotyl. What is happening? This hypocotyl is elongating faster. Hypocotyl is elongating faster. As a result, this particular, the cotyledons are pushed above the soil. Okay, when this region is going to elongate faster, what will happen? This particular region will come above the surface of soil. Is that clear to you? Now, the cotyledons turn green and make their food for a while. Underline the second point. You please underline. Rapid growth and elongation of hypocotyl. Second point is that. Third point, the cotyledon turns green and makes food for a while. Are you underlining it? The food is then utilized by the growing stem. They finally dry up and fall off and the seedling becomes an independent plant. Now just see, in this epigeal germination, epigeal above, the name itself says above the soil. The epigeal means the germination taking place above the soil. You mentioned over there. I think it's written. No, write down. Epigeal means above the soil. The germination taking place above the soil. What is happening? Why this particular type of germination takes place? The reason, the basic reason is this hypocotyl. This hypocotyl region, it elongates and grows at a faster rate. It elongates and it grows. Elongates means that gap is going to increase. As a result, the cotyledons will be pushed above the soil. Cotyledons will be pushed above the soil. As the cotyledons get pushed above the soil, what will happen? They will turn into green first leaf. Green first leaf. As if you remember, cotyledons are also called as seed leaf. They are referred as seed leaf. So these cotyledons, once they are pushed above the soil, they will turn green in color. And as you know, when they are going to turn green in color, they'll start performing photosynthesis. Okay, so they'll start performing photosynthesis. After few days, a stem will be developed, and once the stem develops, these first leaf, they are going to dry and they are going to fall off. They are going to dry and they are going to fall off. They will remain only till the time the stem is not appearing. Once the green stem is appearing, I hope everybody must have seen when a plant is appearing or when a plant starts growing, its stem's color is green, and slowly, when number of leaf increases, the stem changes into brown color. Have you noticed that or not? Everybody has noticed that or not? I'm not talking something out of the world. This is a practical thing you have noticed, that whenever a plant starts germinating, the stem appears, it is in green in color. Slowly and slowly, when the number of leaf increases on that stem, it turns brown. Is that clear? Why it is in green in color? So that it can perform photosynthesis. So same thing happens. Hypocotyl elongating, Cotyledons pushed up, they turn into green in color. They remain there until the time the stem appears. When the stem is going to appear, they will dry and they will fall off. Once the stem came up, that means now the plant is capable of its independent existence and it will start growing as an individual plant. So this type of germination where cotyledons are pushed above the soil is called as epigeal germination. Any doubt to anyone? Is it any doubt to anyone? I hope everybody has understood that. Underline the examples: bean, gourd, castor, cotton, and tamarind. Tamarind, you know now. What is tamarind? How many of you don't know? So many hands. Not knowing. How many of you do not know what is tamarind? Please tell me. Now they should raise the hand, those who do not know what is tamarind. Suryash, not knowing what is tamarind? Akshita, you also do not know what is tamarind? Tashvi, not knowing? Tamarind is imli. Imli, yeah. You know, imli, everybody has heard the term imli, na? You know what is imli? Imli is called tamarind in English. Is that clear? Now let's come. Dave, let me explain this hypogeal germination, then I'll clear your doubt, okay? Hypogeal germination. In this type of germination, the seed remains inside the soil. Okay, please underline that. Cotyledons do not come above the soil, but the cotyledons remain under the soil. This is due to the fact that epicotyl elongates faster. Now what is happening? In this hypogeal germination, this region is elongating faster, which is pushing the cotyledons more deep into the soil. Which is pushing the cotyledons more deeper into the soil. Is that clear to you? Then so that the cotyledon remains inside the soil. Example is gram, pea, maize, and rice. Yes. Now, germination in bean seed. Bean seed, as you know, epigeal germination is going to take place. The bean seed absorbs water and swell. The seed cold splits. What is the meaning of splitting? What is the meaning of splitting? Yes, Samriddhi?
Miss, dividing into two.
Dividing into two parts, okay? Splits, the radical grows downwards to form the taproot. Do you know what is a taproot? Do you know what is taproot? This is all of class 6, taproot, main root. The thick, you know, if you observe a plant and when you see, if you uproot a plant, see a main thick root. This thick root is known as your taproot, or we also call it as primary root, or we also call it as main root. Three terms are given to it: taproot, main root, or the primary root. Is that clear? The radical grows towards the form a taproot. The hypocotyl grows and forms the loop. This straightening to bring cotyledons above the ground. The germination is thus epigeal. The cotyledons become green to form the first green leaves. These soon fall off as the foliage. You know what is foliage? Leaves. Foliage is the other name for leaves, or true leaves appear. You can see the diagram. You will very well understand. If you see the diagram, epigeal germination. Hypocotyl is elongating. Okay. As a result, cotyledons are coming just above the soil. Cotyledons turning into first set of leaves, and slowly, when the stem appears with more number of leaves, these cotyledons are going to dry up and they are going to fall off. Now, I'm giving you 2 minutes time. Read this maize seed, germination and maize seed, and you will be the one to explain it. You will be the one to explain. Is Dave there? Dave, what was your query? Dev. Yeah, yes, beta. Please unmute yourself.
Good morning, Miss. Miss, I have the doubt. I was asking only that, Miss, if cotyledons are they are appearing in the form of green color, so Miss, this whole entire seed is dependent on cotyledon for their survival.
So once they become green, they will green. That means they will start performing photosynthesis now.
Yes, ma'am.
They will start performing photosynthesis. So that in that way also they are making food. Photosynthesis is what? Making
Yes.
food. So they'll prepare food for the plant. Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, Adarsh, you have a question? Yeah. Okay. Please unmute yourself.
Miss, in epigeal germination, miss, the cotyledons are making the food for the baby plant.
Yeah.
But miss, in hypogel germination, miss, the cotyledon remain inside the soil. Then miss, who is making food for the baby plant?
So that is why I told you, read that germination in maize and then explain it to me.
Okay.
That was the
Okay,
only
miss.
question. Yeah. Yes, Amrita, please unmute yourself and ask your doubt.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
Miss, what is scutellum?
Scutellum is the other name given to the cotyledons of the grain. Okay, in grains, we have only a very small region of the cotyledon, and that cotyledon is referred as scutellum in the grain. Okay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Then I think one student has texted me regarding the diagram of the nucleus. Is that particular child present over here? I'm not remembering. She told me that, ma'am, once we are putting light on that diagram, the lines are clear. Those like, Rashika, it was you? Okay, fine. So I think Rashika has tried that experiment. She has taken the page, folded the page and put a light source. And after that, the lines were clear. The regions were clear, which region they are asking about. So you may also try it that way. In the first chapter, that nucleus diagram is there. Na? One diagram is given in the workbook, talking about the workbook. So you will try it out where you were not able to differentiate between the chromatin network, the nuclear membrane, lot of confusion was there. So you try it out, put a torch light or a flashlight, and after that, I think she told me that, ma'am, after that putting that light, it was clear that up to which portion the lines are moving, which area they are asking. So try it in the workbook, and if you get the answer, it's well and good. Otherwise, I'll tell you the answer in the next class. For that, I need one workbook. Is there anyone who lives near to the school and can give me the workbook for one day to discuss in the class? Parth, will you be able to? Okay, so Parth, do one thing. Unmute yourself, Parth.
Yes, ma'am.
On Saturday, we have a class, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Saturday, we have a class by whatever time. It means the class will start at 12:15. My staff room is on the second floor. Okay, next to 8th A, there you keep the workbook, whatever time it's convenient for you, but before 12. Okay, keep the workbook on the table, and once I come, Saturday, all of you should be ready with your workbooks. Is that clear to you? Is it clear? And when I say workbook, means it should be regarding with all the chapters, all the 5 chapters which we have done till the date. By next Saturday, means the coming Saturday, we'll be finishing off this 5th chapter also. Is that okay? Yes. Yes, now who is going to explain me the germination in maize grain? Who is going to explain me? And I want to know the difference between the fibrous root and the prop root also. These all things we have studied in class 6. You should know what is the difference between fibrous root and a prop root. How they are different from the main roots. Only one student was there in class 6. The rest all was resting at their home or what? That time you were coming to the school, na? Just tell me, tap root, prop root, and a fibrous root. All are the same? All are the same. if this is going to be the condition, I'm not going to explain it, because this is what you were being taught in class 6, and you should know. You can't say that whatever I'm learning in class 7th, I should forget and I should move on. No, you have to learn all these things. I'm asking a very basic thing, that taproot, prop root and fibrous root, are these things the same? Are these 3 kinds of root the same? Only 1 or 2 children, 6 students are knowing the answer. What about the others? Yes, Shrishti, beta, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, beta, good afternoon.
Sorry, ma'am. Good afternoon. Miss, taproot, it is the primary root or main root, a single primary or main root. And fibrous root, there is no. Yes, miss. And in fibrous root, that is, there is no single main root. There are all are the thin means small roots are there.
Draw the diagram of fibrous root. They lack this
Yes,
taproot or the main root, and then
yes, ma'am.
they're scattered like this in the soil. These are
Yes,
fibrous.
miss.
That is why it is very easy to pluck the grass from the soil, and it is difficult to pluck a rose plant, a mango tree from the soil, because there they have a thick taproot. Whereas grasses, they have what? They have this fibrous root. Roots are horizontally, they are scattered in the soil, and they do not go very deep into the soil. Yes, and the last one, prop root.
And the miss, prop root, they are also scattered only, but they are above the ground.
Yes. The prop roots are scattered roots, but they are formed above the soil, and they are basically meant for support. Prop roots are basically meant for support. Is that you have seen sugarcane? We call them as adventitious roots also, because when they are coming above the soil, we can also refer them as adventitious roots. Okay, yes, Shrishti, please unmute yourself, beta. Yes, now who is going to explain me the maize seed? Yeshi, please unmute yourself, Yeshi. No, she disappeared. Only 2 students. Yes, Akshara, please switch on your video. Are you people playing hide and seek with me? Once I call the name, you disappear from the screen. Is it like that? Then I'll also do the same thing. I'll also start playing hide and seek from my side. As soon as the name is being called, they're disappearing. Till now, Akshara was seen. Now, I don't know where she has gone. Okay. I'll also get a time to play hide and seek. Yes, she came. Yes, Akshara, please explain. How is germination taking place in maize seed? Good afternoon, ma'am. Just speak. Unmute yourself first. Without unmuting, you will speak. अब अनम्यूट भी नहीं हो रहा होगा ना अक्षरा, समझ में आ रहा है? Now mute, that button is also not working. Okay. Yes, Akshita, please unmute yourself, beta.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon, beta.
Germination in maize seed is by hypogeal germination. The maize grain swells up due to absorption of water, and the cotyledons doesn't come out from the surface. The epithelial layer of the cotyledons converts the starch into sugar, and that is converted.
Okay, just mute yourself. Let me explain, because already we are running short of the time. Just see, the maize grain swells up on absorption of water. The scutellum does not come above the surface. I hope everybody knows scutellum means cotyledons. They're talking about cotyledons. They do not come above the surface. The outermost epithelial layer of the scutellum secretes enzymes which convert starch of the endosperm into sugar. Reason behind why starch is getting converted into sugar, because plant cannot utilize starch as a food. Plants cannot use starch as a food. It has to be converted into the form of sugar. If the extra of sugar gets stored in the form of starch, but for the utilization for the plant or for the seed or for the grain, this starch has to be converted into sugar form. The cotyledons or the scutellum help in absorbing the converted sugar, which is transferred to the radicle and the plumule to be used up. Both the radicle and plumule go out piercing through the pericarp and the testa. That is why it is a grain. Okay, they are fused together, pericarp and testa are fused together, so they pierce out and they emerge out. The hypocotyl remains short, and please underline that. The hypocotyl remains short and along with the cotyledons remain underground. The radicle grows down into the soil and forms the primary root. The primary root is short-lived and is replaced by a system of adventitious root coming out from the hypocotyl. Now, if you see the hypocotyl region, there comes the secondary root, that is adventitious root, which later turn into the fibrous root. The primary root is short-lived and is replaced by a system of adventitious root coming out from the hypocotyl and the basal nodes of the plumule. Soon the plumule grows upward rapidly and breaks through the coleoptile tip. Okay. The coleoptile withers after the unfolding of the first foliage leaves. Underline that. Coleoptile has come above the soil, and after coming out, once the leaves appear, these coleoptile, they wither off or they dry off. Wither off means they dry off. This shows hypogeal germination. In this, you have to just understand two main important things. First thing is that the seeds, the cotyledons remain under the soil. Second of all, the starch is getting converted into sugar. And third of all, radicle is emerging out first and radicle is forming the primary root. That primary root disappears and fibrous root come. Okay, after some time, primary root disappears and instead of that, they are replaced by the fibrous root. Once the fibrous roots are formed, immediately after that, there is an elongation of coleoptile. Elongation of plumule. Elongation of plumule means that coleoptile is also pushed up, the sheet will be also pushed up, and as a result, after some times when coleoptile comes above the soil, it is going, the first set of leaves are going to appear and the coleoptile is going to dry up, and now this new plant will start making its own food with the help of the new foliage leaves formed. Is that clear? Okay, now we have left with two topics, vivipary germination and what are the conditions necessary for germination. Now, the homework for you is come prepared with vivipary germination. I hope everybody knows what is viviparous. Do you know, na? Viviparous and oviparous. Do you know these two terms? Prepare only viviparous germination topic and come to the class. Is that clear? And with that, please come with your workbooks also. With your workbooks also. And I hope already I have told you what all questions to write in the copy. Have I told you that? Yes. So complete your work. And one thing more. Please, you can see on page number 60. 4 activities are given. Page 64 activities are given. Please go through these activities also. Even experiments are also asked in the examination. Even experiments do come in the examination. Is that clear? So please go through these 4 activities. Anything to ask, you may ask in the next class. Is that okay? Yes, Krishna, you want to ask anything? Yeah, please unmute yourself.
Miss, monocot seeds do not have micropyle.
Seeds do not have micropyle. No, micropyle micropyle. They will be having the micropyle. Seeds.
Miss, but oh, Miss, sorry, that grain of maize, it does not have micropyle.
It does not have micropyle.
Then how it absorbs water?
You tell me how it is going to absorb water.
Miss, I don't know. That's why I've asked you.
See, the outermost layer is what? Protein layer, no?
Yes, yes.
Protein layer is helping in absorption of water. Is that clear? That protein layer is absorbing water and in helping out in the activation of enzymes. Is that okay?
Yes, but how protein will help in absorption?
What is actually protein? Why proteins? This layer cannot absorb water. This layer is that protein layer. Why it is having a protein layer? What was the use of having that protein layer, outer layer? Because that protein layer has a specific function. It is helping in the it will absorbing the water and activating the enzymes. Those enzymes help in absorption of water from the soil. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yes, so I have given you homework for the next class. Please go through vivipary term and please do the workbooks also, questions of the workbooks also. I hope till now when you have gone through the workbooks, you might have come across many questions whose explanation is not given in this book, this particular book which we are using. Is it like that? Or every answer you are getting? Are you getting each and every answers? You might have come across many terms which are not given in the book and they have been asked in the workbook. Like that inflorescence type topic, resin and racemose, that all was asked. Na? So please go through it and do complete the workbook. And then we will be discussing it in the next class. Is that okay? So thank you students for attending today's class.